I'm just a regular encyclopedia. Ignore the pun. Peedy in the new era. Back in 1999, Microsoft Asian ragatha were thriving better than ever. Though, all that pleasure was only temporary. In 2009, Microsoft Asia ran out of money and became nearly, if not homeless. Peedy was no exception of this. Because of what has happened, poor Peedy couldn't afford to buy any other food other than crackers. One day, in 2010, Peedy was sitting on his couch, watching TV. During the time Peedy has lost his job, streaming services didn't exist yet, so he had to watch his TV shows and movies through cable and DVD. Though, he could only afford so little. After the news channel ended, he got an ad for a new Windows OS known as Windows 7. It looked pretty pleasing to Peedy, but he knows he can't afford anything, not even a single small piece of candy. He soon switched to the Cartoon Network channel and was watching Adventure Time, but then he heard a knock on his door. That's when he saw a strange package on his front door. It wasn't that big, but definitely not that small either. It was short but wide and was the shape of a rectangle. It looked too big for a smartphone to be in it, but it was definitely too small to be an entire PC either. Peedy brought the package inside, cut the tape, then opened the box. When Peedy opened the box, he was surprised at what was in it and thought he had ate too much crackers. It was a box containing a laptop with Windows 7 pre-installed on it. Or that's at least according to the box that came inside of the bigger package. Peedy was sketched out of it, but shrugged it off and then opened the box and took everything out. He plugged in the laptop to let it charge and decided to power it on. Then the laptop showed the Windows 7 boot screen. Wow, this is too good to be true, so I must be dreaming, said Peedy. He didn't know who sent him the package, as most of the other Microsoft agents he has not heard from since 2009. Now it's 2011, and Peedy learned a lot about the new Windows OS. He discovered gadgets that were added in the new OS, and also discovered about the new control panel and tree icon flyouts. Peedy has never seen anything like this since Windows XP. Sure, he did hear about Vista, released before 7 but quite similar, but useless, which was why he was broke, and that puts him at risk of running out of food. After he had lost his original job, he wasn't able to find a new one, because there was no other jobs he was good at after the original job he had. Even with his new computer, Peedy still had to fix the other issue he had. He was still young. But now, since technology is advancing, means that more jobs for it are being created. With the power of the internet, he was able to search for jobs online. He was able to connect to the internet by a small package he found inside of the one that contains the box containing the laptop, which turned out to contain an Ethernet cable. He did have a LAN system in his wall, but it stayed off for most of the time, cause it was practically useless before he got his laptop and just took away money. But with his new laptop, he decided to turn it back on so he could connect to the internet again. He learned how to code and develop applications, and also automate tasks on his computer. There was still one problem, which prevented him from getting a job. He had no diploma. Originally, Microsoft agents were a well-paid job that didn't require a diploma, but after being discontinued in 2009, it didn't pay enough money to last for 2 years. Thankfully, he was able to save enough money to afford to go to college. Since he had forgotten about his money while he was searching the web, trying to learn new things to get a job, the weekly money he was given piled up more and more. Of course, with occasional taxes every month, but they weren't that he couldn't believe his eyes on who he saw. Merlin, Rocky, Genie, and his best friend Lonzy. Lonzy was a purple gorilla he met in the year 2000 and has been friends with Peedy until he went missing in 2009. Peedy, is that really you? Asked Lonzy. Peedy answered with, yes, yes it is. After losing each other, Peedy and Lonzy finally reunited after 3 years. So, how was your life in the past years? Peedy asked his friend. It was not really that good. After the company I worked at, Lonzy's software was shut down. I was also running low on money. Replied Lonzy, I thought this was how my life was going to end, broke, jobless, and hungry. Until I heard my doorbell ring and saw a package on the front door that contained a laptop and an Ethernet cable. Oh cool. What was the brand of the computer? Peedy asked. Lonzy answered, I don't remember, but I think it said MSI on the back. Peedy couldn't believe those words, because that was the same laptop brand he had gotten when he opened the package that he had found on his front door. If Peedy were to assume who sent Lonzy that package, it had to at least be the same person who sent Peedy a package containing a laptop. 4 years passed by, and Lonzy and Peedy are thriving better than ever. They had moved to Modesto, California and both bought themselves houses. 2 years later, Lonzy's brother Maxwell comes back after disappearing for 10 years straight. After a quick conversation, Maxwell explains the events that happened while he was gone. For the past 10 years, being lost in the forest, Maxwell had been working at a small shop that existed in that same forest. He had made enough money to buy 2 laptops and decided to send them to his friends, who he knows are not in a good living condition after they lost their job. Peedy asked, so you were the one who delivered those laptops to me in Lonzy's house? In a program called peedy. Now that's how he met you, the best of friends that anyone could ever have. The end. Ragatha, what are you doing here? Get out of here! Don't mind me. And that's the end of the story. So, goodbye.